have had some pretty intense conversations with people about the current and dangerous political situation in this country. The question I get most often is, where is the youth? Where are the students? Every generation, each period of history puts its stamp on the world. But not every generation lives through pivotal, ethical shaping events. There's a generation that rose up to stop the war in Vietnam. The generation that laid down in the face of the Nazis. These are among the generations that are celebrated or scorned. Every generation has a mission, and ours must be to drive out the Bush regime. Tonight, all of us are brought here by different things. Some of us may know a lot about what's going on. Some of us. One thing that I believe we all share in common is that we, along with millions and millions of people, are deeply disturbed and outraged by the Bush regime. We recognize the need for a vehicle to express this outrage, yet we cannot find it. Politics, as usual, cannot meet the enormity of the situation, and people sense this.
Can everyone hear me? All right.
It's too loud.
Too loud?
It's too loud.
Oh, we want it loud.
Sounds about right to me. Well, it's driving me out. I'm going to have to leave it, you know, turn it down a little bit. I've already lost enough here. Like, it's way too loud.
All right. I won't do too loud, all right? Is that good for you?
That's better.
All right. Good. But anyways, my name's Hernan Suarez-Diaz, and I was a Navy hospital foreman, like Brianna just said, for 5 years. I was with the Marine Corps, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, which is the most decorated battalion in the Marine Corps. It's an infantry unit. And I was attached to a weapons company, which is basically the company that has Humvees with machine guns on top. And I was in Armani, and I was there from September of 04 to February 26th of 05 when I got wounded by an RPG. And basically, you know, it's very important for people, veterans and also students, to be more involved in this anti-war movement, because those are the key elements in ending this war. For one, we have to look at Vietnam and what ended that war. And it took 5 to 6 years in the Vietnam War for GI resistance to actually start picking up and soldiers, you know, refusing to fight. And
And gays and blacks, as well as the criminal treatment of black people during Hurricane Katrina by the police. Days after the Military Commission Act legalized torture, she produced and co-hosted an evening of conscience at NYC Cooper's Union's Great Hall, featuring Greg Murray, Mark Ruffalo, and Olivia Dukakis. On the opening day of Congress, she entered the spin zone of the Iraq factor and calmly broke down the Iraq War, how it fits into the Nuremberg standards for war crimes. Howard Zinn has referred to her as speaking clearly, vividly, boldly on the political issues of our time. I love it too. So, welcome to Sarah Taylor.
Hi. Okay, so I want to ask a couple questions. First of all, raise your hand if you've been asked what you want to be when you grow up. All right, everybody, right? Look around. Okay, now keep your hand up if you've been asked as often what kind of world you want to live in when you grow up. Look around. Okay? So you think about like young people and everybody, but I'm speaking especially to the young people. Well, young people are being bombarded about what kind of shoes you're going to buy, what kind of clothes you're going to wear, who you're hanging out with after school, what grades you're going to get, what's your future plans, your career, all these things. You're being bombarded and thinking about and being preoccupied with these, being told to be preoccupied with these things. Larger forces are at work shaping what kind of world you're going to go into. And this is a big part of this mission of a generation, stop the war now, drive out the Bush regime, speaking to is to actually get people to look up, as Hanan was saying, at what is being done to the world right now in our names. That we can do something about, but not if we're, tunnel vision, atomized, preoccupied, and only if we come together and confront what's happening and then act on it as not in isolated individuals, but as a whole generation deciding that this is intolerable and we're going to stop what's happening. Brianna talked about every generation has a mission. Every generation puts its stamp on the world. And she mentioned the generation that rose up and stopped the Vietnam War, or the generation that rose up and abolished slavery, or the generation that laid down in the face of the Nazis. And there really are some generations that are looked back on, that are remembered. And I would say that this generation living in this country today, everybody alive in this country today, has a greater responsibility and is going to put a greater stamp on history than even either of those two generations. When we started the World Can't Wait movement, Nobel laureate, playwright, Harold Pinter, thank you, sent a statement. He got involved in this movement very early on, and he sent a statement where he said, and I quote part of it, "The Bush administration is the most dangerous force that has ever existed. It is more dangerous than Nazi Germany because of the range and the depth of its activities and its intentions worldwide." Hanan talked a lot about the war, so I'm going to try to, which I appreciated, I thought it was really important. I'm going to try to cut back some of what I was going to say about it. Except to say that in 4 years, we've really destroyed a country. As he said, over 650,000 people have been killed because of this war and the U.S. occupation. They said it's fast becoming one of the largest refugee crises in the world. Over 100,000 people are being forced out of Iraq each month. This is not even the internal migrations and displacements. This is people being forced out of the country. And the whole region is actually being pushed as this civil war that the U.S. has fomented is being aggravated. The whole region is being pushed toward balkanization, spreading the civil war throughout the Middle East. This war is not a mistake. It was not a blunder, a poorly planned war. This war was a war of aggression. It was a war crime. By Nuremberg standards, the standards the U.S. tried the Nazis at, helped shape to try the Nazis. A war of aggression where you have no legitimate claim to self-defense and where you have not been attacked is a war crime that's actually the highest order of war crime.